Dosto. So we'll be looking at the First World War and the nationalist response in this video. So the national response for the British participation in World War One. Key first is moderates. Moderates supported the empire in the war. So basically, they were actually kind of loyal to the British. Then extremist basically also supports, as they believed that British would repay India's loyalty with self-government. Okay, even the moderates thought the same. Actually, the moderates thought that if we are lenient, okay, we say, okay, you can participate, we will participate in the World War One. In the end, they will take our participation, and as a thankful note, they will give independence for us. Okay, that's what the moderates also thought, and the extremists also thought that what they will repay India's loyalty with self-government. And the revolutionaries, they decided to wage war on British and free the country. So revolutionaries, they basically thought it is a time, or in the during the time of the World War One, it is a perfect time in which we can fight, because at that time the empire would be weak. It will be fighting at all the ends, and at that time, if we fight it from inside, we can break them. Okay, that's what the revolutionaries thought. Okay, Home Rule League movement. It is the first movement. Home Rule League movement. It was Indian response to First World War, inspired by Irish Home Rule Leagues. The aim of the movement was self-rule through political education, discussion, public meetings, etc. Okay, so the Russian Revolution of 1917 gave boost to the movement. Okay, the government responded with severe repression, but it prepared masses for Gandhian style of politics. So what happened? This is actually happening in 1916. So it forms the Home Rule League movement actually forms a base for uh, for political education among the masses of the people, or to a majority of the people of India, about political awareness of what is happening in the country. Okay, so in 1919 we can see that at that time, at that timeline, Gandhi is arriving in India. Okay, so it this movement actually makes it easy for Gandhi's approach of national movement. Okay, Tilak launched the Indian Home Rule League in April 1916 in Belgaum. Okay, Annie Besant launched the Home Rule League in September 1916 at Madras. Okay, factors responsible for launching Home Rule League. The nationalists believed that people involvement was necessary to get concession from the government. Moderates were disillusioned with the Molly Minto reforms. People were burdened by the wartime miseries, high taxation, price rise, and were ready to participate in any aggressive movement of protest. Okay, it was an imperialist war that exposed the myth of white supremacy. Okay, then Tilak, after his release in 1914, was ready to assume nationalist leadership and was inspired by the Irish Home Rule League. So what happened? Tilak was also a main proponent of the movement. Okay, so after his release, in the previous lecture we can see he was arrested for his writing in Kesari. He was arrested on sedition. Okay, so he was released in 1914, and what happened? He was inspired by the Irish Home Rule, and he also was the main proponent of the Indian version of the Home Rule League. Okay, so Annie Besant took part in to enlarge the scope of Home Rule. Okay, we will be looking at both these characters in detail and also their movements to a large depth. Okay, so we can see that the Anglo-Indians, most of the Muslims and non-Brahmins from south, did not join, as they felt it would mean that home rule of the Hindu majority. So why didn't the non-Brahmins of South didn't participate? So when we look into the South or South India, we can see there are self-respect movement, and also the Justice Party. So both these movements are actually against caste system. So basically, what they thought is that if India becomes independent at that time, and they saw Congress as a uh, Brahminical political party. Okay, so if Congress comes to power, or if India gains independence at this time, what happens? It will be promoting caste system, and the lower caste or the non-Brahmins will be subjected to the rule by Brahmins. Okay, so that was the fear, and that was the reason that non-Brahmins from South didn't participate. So similar reason can be felt for Muslims and also for Anglo-Indians. Okay, then league branches. So Tilak Tilak's League was set up in April 1916 in areas of Maharashtra, so excluding Bombay city. So this is very important. Okay, even though it was set up in Maharashtra, Bombay city was not part of the movement. Okay, in Karnataka and central provinces and Berar. It demands included Swarajya and formation of linguistic states and education in the vernacular languages. Okay, Tilak advocated the passive resistance. So in Annie Besant, what happened? Annie Besant in September 1916 in Madras covered rest of India, including Bombay city. So Tilak's league actually didn't include Bombay city, while on Annie Besant's league, it included Bombay City and it was loosely organized compared to Tilak's league. So Annie Besant actually made a vast, or we can say a wide network in the Home Rule League, while Tilak it was limited to Karnataka, central provinces Berar and Maharashtra. Okay, and Home Rule League faded out in 1919 due to the following reasons. First is lack of effective organization, then communal riots during 1917 to 1918. Moderates were pacified by the talk of reforms, the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Okay, or the Government of India Act of 1919. Same. The passive talk of passive resistance by extremists kept the moderates away from September 1918 onwards. Tilak had to go abroad in 1918, while Annie Besant didn't agree to the passive resistance and reforms of the movement. Reforms in the movement. So we'll be looking at Annie Besant. So Annie Besant, she fought for the freedom of thought, secularism, women's right, birth control, workers' rights, and Fabian nationalism. Fabian socialism. Okay. Besant converted to theosophy. So she belonged to a theosophical society. After meeting Helena Belansky, I don't know how to pronounce it. So in 1889, she came to India for the first time in 1893 as part of the Theosophical Society. Okay, she founded the Theosophical Society Adayar in Adayar along with Henry Steele Alcott. Its headquarters is in Adayar, Chennai. Okay, she was the society's president from 1907 to 1933. Besant set up the Central Hindu College in Benares. She joined the Indian National Congress (INC) and demanded government action towards self-rule. Besant launched All India Home Rule League in 1916 along with Bal Gangadhar Tilak. In 1933, Annie Besant died at the age of 85 in Adayar, Chennai. Okay, so now we'll look into Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So Bal Gangadhar Tilak, also known as Lokmanya Tilak, he was the founder of the Deccan Education Society, along with his associate Gopal Ganesh Agarkar and others. Okay, one of the founders of the Fergun College in Pune through the Deccan Education Society stressed on the need for self-rule and believed that without self-rule or Swarajya, no progress was possible. So Tilak celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi and Shivaji Jayanti. So what happened? He was the one who started these celebrations of festivals and in Maharashtra, which is celebrated to this day with pomp and show. Okay, so what happened? He basically celebrated these festivals as part of the home rule movement. Okay, he envisioned these celebrations inciting a sense of unity and inspiring nationalist sentiment among Indians. Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it is his slogan. Okay. Along with Lala Lajpat Rai and Bipin Chandra Pal, he was part of Bal Pal trio. Okay. Lala Lajpat Rai, Lal, and Bipin Chandra Pal, and also Bal Gangadhar Tilak's Bal. Okay. Trio of leaders with the extremist outlook. Okay. He joined Indian National Congress in 1890. Newspapers were weekly Kesaris, Marathi, and Maharata. Books, Gita Rahasya, Arctic Home of the Vedas, and he died in 1st August 1920. Okay, so Lucknow Pact. Okay, Lucknow Pact and Lucknow session of INC. So it was in 1916. Okay, it was presided by A.C. Majumdar, led to readmission of extremists. So in we can see Surat, there was a split or a clash in which the extremists and the moderates were splitted into two sections. Okay, And in the Lucknow Pact, what happened? Both of them came together. Okay, readmission of extremists to the Congress, Lucknow Pact between Congress and Muslim League, and the representation of common constitutional demands by them, the government. Reasons for readmission of extremists: death of moderates like Gokhale, Firoz Shah Mehta facilitated the reunion. Efforts of Ani Besant and Tilak also denounced act of violence. Both moderates and extremists realized the split led to political inactivity. Okay. Reasons of Muslim League pact with Congress. Britain's refusal to help Turkey. So what happened? Muslim League also came into the picture. They also wanted to join in the session. So they also made a pact. Okay, along with the extremists and moderates, Muslim League also joined the pact. So what was the reason that Muslim League also joined the pact? It was the Britain's refusal to help Turkey during the World War One, annulment of the Bengal's partition in 1911, rise of younger members in the league. Maulana Azad is so his work is Al Hilal. Muhammad Ali, it is Muhammad Ali Jinnah. His work is Comrade. Okay, so basically most people will confuse it. Okay, whenever the his work is asked, what is Comrade is written by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Okay, Congress agreed to the league's demand of separate electorate. Muslims were granted a fixed proportion of seats on all India and provincial levels. Okay, so basically what happened? So they agreed. The Congress agreed on separate electorates in electoral pact, and Muslims were granted fixed proportional seats in all India and provincial levels. Montagu Statement. So Montagu Statement of August 1917. The Secretary of State between 1917 and 1982, and he was the Secretary of State, Montagu, and also Lord Chelmsford, India's Viceroy between 1916 and 1921. Montagu made August Declaration of 1917 for responsible government. It consisted of broadly demands for self-government or home rule by nationalists can't be called seditious. Attainment of self-government for Indians became a government policy. The government will decide the timings and nature of progress towards responsible government. Okay, so reasons for nationalist resurgence after World War One: post-war economic hardship in various sectors, misery among people, high expectation of political gains for cooperation in the war. So basically, what happened in the beginning of the lecture, we have told you that moderates and extremists, both of them thought that if they allow the government to participate in the World War One, so for their loyalty, they will be rewarded with independence. So there was a high expectation of political gains for cooperation in war. Imperialism worldwide, with imperialist powers having no intention to establish a democracy. October or Russian Revolution showed people possesses power, huge power, and can challenge the imperialist powers. Okay. So Montagu Chelmsford reforms or Government of India Act of 1919. Okay, features of the Government of India Act 1919. This is a very important act. Okay, listen to me. So this is a very important act in such a manner that these questions related to this act are asked every time in UPSC from the modern history section. Okay, for provincial government, governor was the executive head of the province. So Dayashi was introduced. What is Dayashi? Dayashi is two classes of administrator, executive council, and ministers. So basically, the subjects were divided into two lists. Like we have union list, state list, and concurrent list. So Dayashi was introduced at that time. So it was divided. Subjects were divided into two lists. First was reserve list. Governor in charge along with his executive councillors, law and order, irrigation, finance, land revenue, etc. were under reserve list. Okay. And in transfer list, it was ministers in charge. And they had education, local government, health, excise, industry, etc. Okay. So Dayashi was introduced in Montagu Chelmsford reforms. Okay, the Secretary of State and Governor General could interfere in matters made under reserve list, but this interference was restricted. They could not interfere in transfer list. Okay, the size of provincial legislative assemblies was introduced. Now about 70% of the members were elected. Some women could also vote. So women's vote were also given in Montagu Chelmsford reforms. The governor's assent was required to pass any bill. He also had veto power and could issue ordinance also. Central government, the executive chief authority was the governor general. Okay, there were two lists of administration, central and provincial. Out of the 8 members of the Viceroy's Executive Council, 3 were to be Indian members. Out of 8, 3 were Indian members. The Governor General could issue ordinances. He could also certify bills that were rejected by the central legislature. Okay, a bike. So Dayashi is over. We have discussed Dayashi. Now what happened? They introduced bicameral legislature. So bicameral legislature was set up with two houses. Like we have Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. There was Legislative Assembly, the forerunner of Lok Sabha, which came before Lok Sabha. Okay, and the Council of State, which is the forerunner of Rajya Sabha. Legislative Assembly, the lower house, it had a tenure of 3 years. The Council of State, the upper house, that is basically what happened. Today's Rajya Sabha, only male members with a tenure, it had only male members with a tenure of 5 years. The legislatures could ask questions and also vote a part of the budget. Only 25% of the budget was subjective to what? Provided for the first time establishment of Public Service Commission in India. So, Montagu-Chelmsford reforms or the Government of India Act of 1919, it established the Public Service Commission of India, which is today's UPSC. Okay, provided for the that after 10 years, a statutory commission would be set up to study the working of the government. This resulted in the Simon Commission of 1927. The Secretary of State for India to be paid out of British exchequer. So Gandhi in South Africa in 1894-1914, moderate phase of struggle, he relied on sending petitions and memorials to authorities in South Africa and British. He set up Natal Indian Congress and started Indian opinion to unite different sections of population. Phase of passive resistance of Satyagraha, Indians under Gandhi started Satyagraha for the following reasons. So we will be looking at the reasons. First is registration certificate, which was mandatory for Indians to carry registration certificate. The restrictions on Indians migration or Indians defied by crossing over from one province to another. Campaign against poll tax and invalidation of Indian marriages. Indians demanded for abolition of poll tax. Then Transvaal Immigration Act. Indians protested by migrating from Natal to Transvaal. So these are some of the phases. Okay. In 1915, Gandhi returned to India. So Gandhi returned to India in 1915. During his initial days, he spent his time in Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad, and Gopalakrishna Gokhale became his political guru. Who was the political guru of Gandhi? Gopalakrishna Gokhale. So Gandhi in India. So these are the main moments, the main activities that he did from after coming till 1919. Okay. So first is Champaran Satyagraha, 1917. First civil disobedience. This is first civil disobedience. Rajkumar Shukla. So Rajkumar Shukla invited Gandhi to look into the problems of indigo planters in Champaran, Bihar. So peasants were forced to grow indigo in 3:20 part of the land. Okay. Or this was called Tinkatya system. European planters demanded high rents and illegal dues to maximize their profits. After Gandhi's intervention, only 25% of the money was given to the farmers. Okay, leaders associated was Rajendra Prasad, Muzaffar al-Haq, Mahadev Desai, Nahari Parak, J.B. Kripalani. Okay, Ahmedabad mill strike, first hunger strike. It was the first hunger strike. Discontinuation of plague bonus led to the disputes between cotton mill owners and workers. Okay, so discontinuation of plague bonus. So plague bonus was introduced at that time. So after that, the owners they decided that okay, it is over now. The bonus should be discontinued. This led to a conflict between the cotton mill owners and workers. So workers demanded a rise of 50% of wages. Gandhi demanded for a 35% hike and took a fast unto death. Anasuya Sarabhai was a social worker who invited Gandhi to fight for workers. She was the president of Ahmedabad Mill Owners Association. What happened? Basically, it was the mill owners by Anasuya Sarabhai. She was the one who invited Gandhi. Okay, to solve this dispute. In the end, what happened? Even though the workers demanded 50% of the rise in the wages, Gandhi said 35 would be enough. Okay. Then Kheda Satyagraha, the first non-cooperation movement. Crops failed in Kheda district in Gujarat because of drought. Okay, the yield is less than one fourth of the normal produce. So farmers were entitled to remission according to revenue code. Government demanded taxes and ordered seizure of property if not paid. Gandhi asked the farmers not to pay the taxes. Leaders Sardar Vallabhai Patel, Narhari Parak, Mohanlal Pandya, etc. Government finally agreed to return all confiscated property, reduce the increase in tax, suspend tax for the year. So Kheda Satyagraha was the first non-cooperation movement. Then Rowlatt Act of 1919, the first All India mass strike. Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act or Rowlatt Act, imprisonment of activists without trial for 2 years. Even possession of seditious newspapers is adequate evidence for the guilt. Okay, a law of habeas corpus was sought to be suspended. So habeas corpus, it is find the body of. It's a writ in which you need to find the person who is arrested or detained. Okay, so it was actually suspended. Okay, Gandhi called for a mass protest to at all India level for organizing Satyagraha Sabhas. All the elected members of the Imperial Legislative Council, Jinnah, Madan Mohan Malviya, and Muzaffar al Haq, resigned in protest. Okay. So then Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place in Rowlatt Act Satyagraha. Okay, it was a reason for calling off the movement also. So what happened? So what is that? British troops fired on a large crowd of unarmed Indians in an open space known as Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar in Punjab. So what was the reason? Gandhi called for one-day Rowlatt Satyagraha throughout the country. In Amritsar, leaders Satyapal, Saifuddin Kuchlu had been arrested. What Brigadier General Rayland Edward Henry Dyer, okay, was given the task for restoring. He was given the task for restoring order. Among the measures taken was a ban on public gatherings. Okay, there was a ban on public gatherings. So, what was the consequence? So, Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore renounced the knighthood. Gandhi began organizing his first large-scale sustained non-violent protest campaign. So, what happened? The non-cooperation movement, which took place from 1920 to 1922, it was a result of Jallianwala Bagh massacre. It was a what happened? End result was non-cooperation movement. Okay, committee, Hunter committee. So what happened? This event took place. And what happened? The British government organized a committee, Hunter committee, to inquiry or disorders, a Hunter committee of inquiry or disorders inquiry committee. So three Indians were part of this committee. The report, what happened? The report condemned General Dyer's actions. However, they did not impose any disciplinary actions on him. Okay, the report actually condemned General Dyer's actions, but they did not impose any disciplinary actions against him. So, what was the Congress view? INC appointed its own committee. Motilal Nehru was there, C.R. Das, Abbas Tyagi, and Emma Jayakar and Gandhi. They criticized Dyer's actions. So, in the recent news, it is on 13 April, 13 April, on the date in which on 1919, where the event took place on the Memorial Day on April 9, 2020. What happened? It marks the 101 years of the incident. Jallianwala Bagh site in Amritsar is now a national moment. So we need to take another important note is that the British government has of yet they haven't apologized us for this event. Okay. So this is an image of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So this was a very turning point in the Indian national struggle. So I hope today's lecture was productive for you guys. So until we meet again, God bless you all. Jai Hind.